Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwonders.com coming to you with the Thursday edition of Today in Sports Betting. As always, I am joined by my host with the most, coming all the way from the great state of New York, where they have flattened the curve. They're opening things up out there, and we'll see if is he still social distancing, Scott? You still keeping your 6 feet distance? It's Scott Reichel, everybody. Hey, Scott, what's up?
Nothing much. Doing pretty well. I'm doing my best to keep my distance. Then again, I don't think many people are up at 7 in the morning watching golf, so I don't exactly have to worry about distancing myself from others. But, yeah, so far, so good. I know New York's kind of flattened the curve a little bit. Can't say the same about Florida, which is, it could be a problem in the future. But overall, definitely nice to have golf back and pretty interesting leaderboard so far. So I've been kind of keeping busy.
Excellent. We're going to talk a little UFC today with the one, the only winning Willy. Willy, what's up, buddy?
Well, what's going on, fellas? Pleasure to be back.
Nothing. Good to have you back, man. Good to have you back. And it's nice you can stop by and do a UFC card that is worthy of your time. As you did not care for last week's UFC card, so it's nice to have you here. And we're going to talk a little UFC in just a minute. But the first thing we're going to do, we're going to check in, and we would like to keep our finger on the pulse of the betting and here in America, find out what's going on. And I've got my old buddy, for those of you that have been with us a while and know my old podcast from a couple years back. He was a regular on my podcast, and he's been about everywhere. He's done everything: Armed Forces Radio, Sirius XM, SB Nation. He's the one, the only. I'm proud to call him a personal friend, Steve Rich. It is the Buffalo Wingman coming from Vegas. What's up, Wingman?
Not much. How you doing? Pretty damn early out here in Vegas, buddy.
I know it is, man. We got you up at 10 a.m. local time, and
when you go to bed at 5, 10 a.m. is pretty damn early.
You ain't lying, my friend. Now, were you up there watching that Korean baseball?
What? They play baseball in Korea?
There you go.
You know, there's actually a benefit in Vegas though, because Korean baseball starts at 2 a.m. instead of 5
exactly.
a.m. So that actually
it's
works
on
out pretty well.
hour.
Yeah.
So first of all, how long have you been out there, Wingman?
I've been out here since Monday.
Okay, and you flew out. You're staying, and I know you said you're staying at Caesars. You
Yep.
got a nice view. Show us that view of the Bellagio real quick. There it is, kids. There it is. That's very
There's
nice.
the fountains. Sit here in my room, watch the fountains at night.
Yeah.
It's the fountain show.
Yep.
Very good. And how crowded are the casinos? How many people are there? Are they doing their social distancing? Are you wearing your mask, et cetera, et cetera?
I have a mask in my suitcase. I've worn it a little bit. I wear it around my neck in case the casino requires it. I haven't been in a casino yet that's required you to wear a mask. And they're not real full.
That's what I was going to. Are most people wearing masks?
I'm going to go about 50% tops.
Okay. And how are they doing, like the slot machines, the video poker, or how many are they doing? Like every other one, every third one?
About every other one is out of service.
Okay.
So the chairs are spaced out. Every other machine's out of service, basically. And 3 people allowed at blackjack tables, 6 around the crap tables. So it's kind of and the thing is, you can actually get a seat.
Is that right?
So that many people out here at the moment.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because you heard a lot of stories about, the hotel rooms were extravagantly priced, and they were going to be at a premium, and people were going to be just crowding Vegas. And this is the second week it's been open. Opened last week, right, bud?
Right. Yeah, opened on the 4th, and both weekends have been fairly crowded, but not so crowded that Caesars still has the Link isn't open. The Paris doesn't open. Well, Paris opens today actually, and the only thing that's been open is Flamingo and Caesars, and I think that's about it for Caesars Entertainments. And
okay,
MGM opened up New York, and Bellagio, and that's it.
All right.
So, they've got a lot of hotels that aren't open yet, and the real problem, a lot of restaurants aren't open yet out here.
I would imagine the buffets are probably not rocking, huh?
No, no buffets, I don't believe. I haven't seen one yet. A lot of restaurants aren't open. Went out in the evening when I got here Monday night, looking for a place to eat, and walked about, 17 miles, just deciding what to eat. And I get to where I wanted to go, and they weren't open. It was, perfect.
Well, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I had a $26 Cuban here at Caesars. It was awesome.
A $26 Cuban?
Yeah. Cuban and a side salad, $26. Thanks for stopping in.
If you go to Miami, you can get an actual Cuban for about 20.
I could have gotten a real Cuban, exactly.
So the big question is that I know that our viewers want to know about, what do the sports books look like? Is anybody we got the Belmont Stakes coming up this weekend. We got a good UFC card. Not a lot of day-to-day action other than Korean baseball. Got the golf starting today. Anybody in the sports books, man?
Not very many just sitting watching or anything. They're, people trickling in, making their bets, cashing their tickets, whatever, and then going out. That's why I'm out here. I had to have money to live on.
Yeah,
Nothing to bet. I finally came out and cashed my Chiefs ticket in.
You had a Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl ticket,
Super
right?
Bowl, right. So I had to need some money. Had to come out.
Well, that'll go with the 49 losers that you've had since 1969.
Right.
You were due, my friend.
I was, yeah.
Luckily,
I didn't bet all those years.
Well, that's I'm glad that we checked in with you, because I knew when you told me you were going to Vegas, I wanted to talk about how busy it was. I know some people have talked about going out there. And are all the employees wearing masks?
Yeah, all the employees have to wear a mask. So that's certainly, they have a lot of hand sanitizer stations all over the place.
Okay.
A couple of casinos, Golden Nugget actually has a little washing station, where you actually wash your hands in the middle of the casino.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
awful.
they don't have the, little hand sanitizer things everywhere that you can wash your hands off with. So
Okay.
it's hey, if you've never been to Vegas before and you want to experience Vegas, I wouldn't come out. If you've been to Vegas plenty of times and want to come out where there's not as many people, less crowds, it's a good time.
Now, if the restaurants are also closed, that kind of cuts down on some of the nightlife activities.
Yes, it does. Yeah, the nightlife, I've been in by midnight or so, unless I was just in the casino gambling.
Not good. So the $1.99 shrimp cocktails, can't find those anywhere?
I don't think so.
Damn it.
That's one of my favorites. I remember when they were 99 cents.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the cheap shrimp cocktails and the buffets. That's pretty much the reason I go to Vegas, man. So.
Right.
That and the free drinks at the tables.
Yeah, free drinks at the tables. I got my free drinks and playing video poker to the tables. So
I usually get mine playing Pygo. So yeah, I definitely know the feeling.
Steve, have you seen the poker room?
Yeah, haven't seen any of them open yet.
The poker rooms are still not open, huh?
The ones I've been by have not. Well, there's no one playing at the time when I went by. Let's put it that way. So
I know that Florida, when they opened up some of the poker rooms, they had the full plexiglass display and a lot of other stuff. So I know some casinos decided either A, not to do that, or B, they're in the process of doing it, but it takes a while to actually set the whole thing up. So that remains to be seen. But
I think they're only going to allow 4 players per game too. So
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what
it's definitely not the same. But
that's what I've heard is four player tables. I don't know how you beat the rake on a 4-player table. I really don't.
Right.
You're going to be you better be aggressive.
Well, usually you get a reduced rake if you have less than 6, but I don't know if casinos would make an adjustment because of the fact that you can only play with 4.
They're going to have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's a good point as well.
By the way, Scott, reduced rake is not automatic. You have to ask for it.
Oh no, correct. Oh, of course you have to ask for it. They're not going to volunteer anything for you.
Never.
I'm assuming if you are going out to play poker in these type of conditions, you probably are the person to ask for a reduced rake. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
You're probably right, my friend.
If you're playing poker right now, to ask for a reduced rake.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, I feel like you've been around the block a few times if you're going out right now. But I actually have one question for Steve about the sports books. I know that some sports books around the world are doing special new customer deals or promos, try to just lure people in these difficult times. Are there anything going on with Vegas? Have you seen a decent amount of welcome bonuses or anything going on with the sports books, or no?
No, their welcome bonus is minus 110. You just pay your normal juice, buddy.
Okay.
That's it, huh?
I was just curious if any sportsbooks are doing anything to try to attract more customers, but
no, I know nothing at all out here in Vegas. I think that's all online doing that.
Okay.
So Steve, are the people out there? Are the people that work there? Are they like happy to see you? Are they friendlier than they normally would be? Do they?
Well, you can't see their faces with the mask, so it's kind of.
It's a little hard. You're right.
Yeah.
The Uber drivers have been damn pleased about it all.
Is that? I'll bet. Yeah.
So, but everybody seems to be happy and friendly and happy to be back to work. I think for most of them, that are back to work right now. So
Yeah, that's very good. All right.
I gotta ask you one thing. So since you're back in Vegas now, and it's a lot quieter this time around, is that better or worse?
Well, for me, it doesn't bother me. I've been out here plenty of times, seen the action, had a good time with all the crowds. So wandering around, getting in places where, where you might be waiting in line other times is not bad for me. Sportsbook, you walk right up to. No lines at all. Of course, there's no games getting ready to fire off that people are in line for. And anymore, they've got the apps as well. Every casino sportsbook out here has their own app. So you make your deposit and you can wander around Vegas and do whatever you want and just make your bets on the phone. So that's alleviated some of the crowds from the sports books as well.
That's good. I would like, and I know you're coming back before the race, but I just wonder how many people are going to be there to watch the Belmont this Saturday.
I don't know. They don't even have they didn't have the odds up yesterday on Belmont. So I'm sure they probably got them somewhere, but they weren't showing them on the board.
Wow. That's strange times indeed, my friend. Strange times indeed. So it's probably a good time if you ever wanted to play nickel blackjack. Or you got nickel blackjack in Vegas in Caesars.
Yeah, not in Caesars. Nickel blackjack downtown.
Still okay. Well, that's
O'Shea's is closed.
What's that?
O'Shea's is still closed. They weren't even open.
Oh my goodness. That's
things aren't right when O'Shea's isn't open.
No, I figured, along with cockroaches, they'd be the one that would outlast everything. So.
Hey, but the girls are still dancing on the tables at the D, so everything's all right.
That's what. Did they have masks on?
Yep, wearing masks, dancing on the tables.
There's going to be a certain percentage of guys that's going to become their thing.
Exactly, it's going to be a turn on.
That's going to be their turn on, is seeing naked
mask fetish.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate you checking in, man. We
no problem.
We like to keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on around the country, and of course, Vegas being the mecca of all things gambling. Are you up? Are you up? You down? What are you doing?
I'm down just a little bit at the moment, just for being here. I'm getting ready to go gamble today.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna play a little blackjack in the pool at Caesars.
Oh, that sounds like a tough life, brother.
Yeah, they've got the swim up blackjack tables in the pool. So
I've seen videos of that on Twitter. That seems like a fun time.
Yeah, social distancing and chlorine. So what could go wrong?
What could go wrong, man? What could go wrong, indeed? All right, brother. Well, I hope you hit all your bets today, and appreciate you checking in. I know you'll be back tomorrow. So, man, good luck. Thanks for getting up early and start pumping that iced tea and letting us land out there.
Time to switch over here before too long.
There you go, buddy. It's noon somewhere, brother.
That's right. I know it is. I've heard that.
All right. Have a good one, Steve. Have a safe trip back, and we'll talk to you when you get back in.
All right, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Take care.
Bye.
All right. There you go. That is the Buffalo Wingman checking in out there from beautiful Las Vegas, and it sounds like they're getting things going. Not quite back up to speed there, Scott. So.
Well, within reason, of course. I mean, you're not going to be able to open everything up as soon as possible. I feel like people were kind of hoping that Vegas would – I'm trying to think if people would want Vegas to be more packed than it currently is, or if it's better off that it's not as packed as it currently is. It really depends on your interpretation of the whole scenario. I
would imagine it depends on what you're looking for. If you want to go out there and you want to play on a blackjack table and not have to worry about, multiple idiots playing third base, taking the dealer's bus card, probably a pretty good time to go. If you want to go out there and have the crowds and have the experience and go to the buffets and the shows, it sounds like it's probably not your thing, and including going to the sports book. So of course, we knew that because there's not a lot of sports going on, there just isn't a ton of traditional sports anyway to bet on where people are going to sit around all day and watch them. So I would be curious to see what kind of crowd they're going to have for the horse races on Saturday, as well as this UFC event on Saturday night, which I know there's some good fights, man. There's some good fights. I'm anxious to talk about it. So let's dive right into our UFC card. We've got of course prelims on and then we've got the main event. Scott, I didn't see this. Is this going to be pay-per-view or is this going to be ESPN Plus for everything? ESPN and ESPN Plus.
So the way that I understood it, that since this is UFC on ESPN 11, I was pretty sure the whole thing was going to be on regular ESPN.
Oh, it is ESPN 11? Okay. I did not see that. So, okay, very good. Willie, you still with us?
Yeah, I am.
Beautiful.
Kind of
Beautiful.
bouncing in and out over here a little bit, but I'm here.
Okay, man. I just wanted to make sure your internet was hanging in there. And
Well, we caught you while you were in, so I guess we picked good timing.
it's a beautiful thing. All right, so let's start off, and we'll just run the card here, guys, and let me know what you think. Start off with the preliminary card. We're going to go with Austin Hubbard against Max Roskopf. This is going to be Austin Hubbard's nickname is Thud. Thud. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's good enough, I guess. I mean, I've heard worse nicknames out there, but it's definitely not in my, I don't know, top 50.
No, and it's not. It's not one of the better names. It's not Strawberry Shortcake either, or whatever the
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake. That's right. Sorry, buddy.
It is better than his opponent's nickname, though, because his opponent doesn't have a nickname, so he wins by forfeit.
There you go. And that's Roskopf is replacing Hubbard, and Roskopf's kind of a submission specialist here, man. He is of course he hasn't fought in the UFC yet, but he is 5-0 with all 5 wins coming via submission, less than 2 minutes. And Roskopf, he's the favorite, even though he's making his debut. He's minus 190. Poor Austin Hubbard plus 165. Thud goes the numbers on that. So let's start it off here with our visitor. Willie, what do you think about this one? Is there value on either one of these fighters?
I'm playing the underdog in this fight. I like Hubbard. I think he's a pretty decent fighter. He's caught a couple bad losses. Can't really hold his last loss against Mark Madsen, but he's got a 71-inch reach advantage. He's a pretty good all-around fighter. He's not really just excelling in one category. I think he'll get the job done.
Willie, just a quick correction there. I'm pretty sure that they just don't have the stats up for Roskopf. I don't think he actually has a 71-inch reach advantage.
No, Hubbard has it.
No one has a 71-inch reach advantage.
I think he means he has a 71-inch reach, not exactly the advantage aspect of it. But I think you already knew that. I think you're just
because when you look at the stats, it doesn't have anything for Roskopf. So it says Austin Hubbard reached 71 inches, Roskopf 0.
Well, that's something that you got to keep in mind for the UFC is the fact that the UFC website might be very good for telling you statistics, but it only has statistics about UFC fights.
Right.
So if you have new fighters that are coming in, the UFC website's basically useless. That's my advice to you when it comes to looking for stats.
Yeah, I know, and I've got the Dave Bautista profile again, the blacked out profile that looks like Dave Bautista, where they put in their generic fighter. So you think there's a little bit of value on Austin Hubbard here, a veteran of the UFC. 11-4 is his record, and he's a guy that has a little bit of power. He's won 36% of his bouts by way of knockout. Not really a submission guy. It's either going to be a knockout or a decision, most likely, if Hubbard is to win this one. Do you think he can stay out of the way and stay off the ground, keep from getting submitted by Roskopf, Scott?
No. In reality, I'm taking Roskopf by submission at plus 225 on Fox Bet. I thought about taking him in the first round by submission at plus 550 on FanDuel, but decided it just wasn't worth the risk. At the end of the day, if you bring in a guy who's 5-0 with 5 submission wins and none of them have gone to the third round, I got to assume he's going to be able to take it to the ground at least once, and I got to assume he should be able to get the job done once again. Of course, I know that the level of competition between the UFC and Titan FC is night and day, but at the end of the day, Hubbard has lost by submission before, and in the UFC, he is just 1-2. Of course, all of his fights have gone to decision, so he hasn't been stopped or anything like that. But in reality, I simply just think that Roskopf is too talented on the ground, that he should be able to get the back at some point with Hubbard potentially sneaking a rear naked choke, and I think he should win this match, I should say, by submission at some point, especially for value if you're getting Roskopf basically his only method of victory, and he's the favorite at roughly minus 190, and you can get him by his favorite outcome at plus 225. I feel like I pretty much have to take it. So that's going to be the first play I'm going to give out.
Would you consider playing Hubbard at plus 165 and a Roskopf decision at plus 225 and hedging that a little bit?
The truth is no. I feel like the issue that you have with the prelims that there's a lot of uncertainty because a lot of people have either A, no film on anybody, or B, they just don't I'm just not that familiar with how talented or consistent these fighters are, which is why they are in the early fights. So for that reason, as you know, I like to go for value plays, and if I can get the favorite, we'll open up roughly minus 170 as in bet up to roughly minus 190. So there has been a steady amount of money on Roscoff. I get him by his favorite margin in a smaller octagon that we keep talking about every single week, which tends to lead to earlier stoppages. Plus 225 seems like a very, very solid deal there. I'd assume that line should be somewhere in the realm of plus 170, plus 180. So for that reason, I'll take the plus 225.
All right, very good. So we're off and running with a difference of opinion from our experts here, and that's what makes this show fun. And it also means there's going to be some trash talking, no matter who wins, because it's somebody's going to get the L right there.
You got any thoughts on that?
You know, I'm gonna have to back the guy. I love that plus 225. I think that you know what? I don't hate the underdog. I don't hate the guy with more fights and more UFC fights under his belt.
I feel like the line's too high at 225.
But you bring that submission specialist in, and if you want to take him, I totally agree with you, Scott. Instead of laying the wood at minus 190, take his favorite mode of victory at plus 225. That's probably the way I would lean as well. Although I certainly understand Willy's logic at playing plus 165 on the veteran. So, but I'm gonna probably go with you on the submission outcome for Roscoff. So there you go. Let's move into the first match between the ladies, and there's some chicks on this card, man. There's going to be some fights between the ladies, and we're going to kick it off with Roxanne of Mota Faria against Lauren Murphy. You know, the thing I like quite a bit is the fact that you've got two contenders, the number 6 versus the number 7 contender in this one, and you've got a couple of fine nicknames as well. Roxanne Mota Faria is the Happy Warrior, so there you go. She got little pigtails and everything. She looks very happy, and while Lauren Murphy is of course known as Lauren Lucky Murphy. Both of these ladies weigh in the 125, 135 range. I'm not sure where they're going to fight this one. We'll see what happens at the weigh-in. A little bit of a reach advantage for Mota Faria, and the odds makers have made this one fairly even, paying a little price on Mota Faria at minus 120, while Lauren Lucky Murphy checks in at plus 100. Scott, your thoughts on the first bout between the ladies here on this card?
So I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit differently than what I normally do. I'm going to be giving out a 2-pick parlay on this card. So I don't know if you want me to give it out now or wait until we cover the second fight involved, but it's going to be between 2 fights, and this is one of them. So do you want me to just give it out now?
Well, tell me who you like here in this one, and go ahead and give us the parlay. No spoilers.
Yeah. So for the sake of this fight, I actually don't have a play on either fighter. However, the one thing I do love for this fight is for it to go the distance, and of course that is going to be a huge minus. And to cut into that, I'm going to be parlaying the Mota Faria fight in going the distance with the Torres fight going the distance. So I got 2 separate women's fighters going the distance. Mota Faria's fight, I believe, somewhere in the minus, I think 300 or minus 250 range to go the distance.
I've got the over 2.5 at minus 300.
Yeah, that's the over 2.5. But if you take the distance, you get to cut into that juice a little bit. And
right.
The Torres fight is also in the realm of like minus 300, minus 350, something like that. But if you parlay both fights to go the distance, it turns out to be minus 113 on Fox Bet, and that's where I'm going to go with it. Simply put, we're going to talk about the Torres fight in a bit. Very similar story. Mota Faria, if you look at her stats, she is the queen of the decision, and I simply just think that this fight should go the distance. This fight's pretty even, as the odds makers indicate, which makes me believe that no fighter should get a significant edge at any point in this contest. So I think this will probably go to the judges' scorecards. Based on the odds for it to happen, I think he'd probably feel the same way. And I think the same thing's going to happen in the Torres fight against Van Buren. So for that reason, I'm going to parlay the distances between 2 of the women's fights, and I'm going to try to cash a minus 113 ticket.
Well, there you go. Willy, Lauren Murphy, pretty much a knockout specialist here. Are you Are you going to get on the go in the distance parlay bus with Scott? Or are you going to think Lucky Murphy maybe sneaks in a big right hand there and ends this one early?
See, I don't hate the going the distance play because, I mean, both of these fighters have gone the distance a lot in their career. And they're both, like as Scott mentioned, they're both pretty even. But at the same time, I do believe that Murray is the better striker and the slightly better grappler here. If you're looking to play it safely, I'd probably play Lauren Murphy at -110. But I like Lauren Murphy wins by KO or TKO at +550. I
Okay.
think that I'm with you. I think she can sneak one of those hands in there. She's got a lot of knockout wins under her belt, and I think she'll get another one here.
I don't hate that because once again you're getting value on a fighter by their preferred method of victory. So if Murphy does get the win here, the odds on her to win straight up are +100. But taking that up to +550 on a knockout, that's a lot of value. And I think that outcome happens more than 1 out of 5.5 times. Basically, I think even if that outcome happens 1 out of 3 fights, 1 out of 4 fights, that's still a positive EV play. Willie, I'm with you there. I like Murphy by knockout +550. Sorry, Scott, fading you on this one, buddy.
It's all good. I mean, I'm going for the safe play, and it makes sense if you want to go for +550 in the short octagon. The main issue that I have with the play is just the fact that I think Roxanne's style is definitely more conducive to decisions because she just loves to try to wrestle. And I really think that she's just going to try to sit on Murphy for as long as possible. And I think that should eat up some valuable seconds on the clock. So I do agree with your idea about the +550 in this fight. But in reality, I've seen Roxanne fight numerous times, and I would call her I would say she's not exactly the most exciting female fighter. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Gonna be more of a grinder is what you're saying.
Yeah, I see her trying to keep it in somewhat the clinch, try to go for takedowns a lot. And Mota is also a pretty smart fighter, so I don't think she's going to try to stand toe-to-toe with Murphy, which if she does decide to do that that's just an awful idea. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for that fight.
Okay. All right. So moving back on to the gentlemen, we're going to take a look at Matt the Steamroller Frivola against Frank the Crank Camacho. Camacho is more of has definitely a lot of UFC fights under his belt. And gentlemen, I do not, for some reason, have odds listed for this one. Scott, do you have do you have odds on this fight?
Yes. So they're basically both even for the most part, with Frivola being a slight favorite.
Okay. And this is kind of a little bit of a similar fight to the last one, as we got one contender that likes to go to decision, and you've got one contender that looks to land that big blow. Frank the Crank has won 77% of his UFC fights by way of knockout or TKO. Willie, does that trend continue on this one?
Well, sorry, just one thing to quickly address. The reason why you can't really find lines on it is because of the fact that Frivola is no longer on the card. And I believe he's been replaced due to injury. So I think that's why you can't exactly find him on that. At least I'm looking on SureDog right now, and it's telling me that they are replacing him with somebody named Justin James. So, yeah, from what I can pick up information-wise, I don't see Frivola on the card anymore.
What do we know about Justin James?
Well, first of all, I want to confirm that he is actually not on the card anymore. Just trying to actually find out this information. But yes, about an hour ago was released that Frivola's out, and Justin James will be making his official UFC debut instead. Okay,
so we'll maybe have some odds on that. Maybe before the end of the show, we'll keep an eye out. So for now, we're gonna pass on that one. Just real quick, you guys, you like Frank Camacho? You like Frank the Crank, Willie?
I don't. I think he's past his peak, and I mean, he definitely has got to win here at this point. Almost like he's really starting to really string together losses, and he needs some kind of win to get something going.
Okay, and maybe James could just be the answer to that prayer for Frank the Crank. Scott, you share Willie's pessimism about Camacho?
Well, it's tough to really be confident in a guy who's 2-4 in his UFC career. So I'm not exactly sold on his skill set. It is worth mentioning, though, that James comes into this match in pretty solid form, as he's actually won 4 straight fights in the first round. So there's no lines available. I feel like the under is probably a good play here if you really wanted to go for some value, just because of the fact that James is known for being a first-round stopper. Of course, he has a very, very limited training camp, which, as you've seen, has not exactly led to many victories for some of these new fighters who have been these substitutes late on in the fight week. But at the end of the day, if you also want to look at Frank's recent results, each of his last 3 fights have not made it to the 3rd round. You have seen the fights end relatively early. I actually think James has a shot to win this thing. And I think that Camacho, even though he does have a lot of knockout power, so does James. And I really think both these fighters are going to try to trade a little bit. Not to mention the fact that James also has 5 submission victories. So he does have the ability to win by submission. So for that reason, I know it's not exactly a great idea to take the newcomer in a very limited week of preparation, but I think if you wanted to go for a serious long shot price, which I don't have in front of me because the lines haven't been released yet, I think James by knockout might be worth a sprinkle.
Okay. All right. That's not, and that's not bad at all. You're fighting against a guy on the downside of his UFC career. And you got what will be a hungry fighter coming in there. Like I said, very short training session is just announcing himself on the card on Thursday morning. Gives you about 60 hours or so to get ready to rock and roll for this one. But
hopefully it was also already at the proper weight, so he doesn't have to worry about doing any weight cuts in addition to all the training he's gonna have to do. I'm assuming he's already at the right weight. But in terms of this actual fight, I don't have any lines on it, so I can't really give out a play. But I potentially, depending on what James is, maybe inside the distance, or what James is to win by knockout or something like that, maybe I'll take it. But as of right now, it's a pass because I simply just don't have any information about the lines.
Okay. All right. Good enough. Let's move on to the next bout here as we take a look once again at a ladies' match between Courtney. Cast Iron, that's right. Courtney Cast Iron Casey against Jillian the Savage Robertson. Jillian Robertson, bright pink hair, as the Savages often have, and we'll see how that one goes. The odds on this one, again, fairly close, as they've made Casey a small underdog. Robertson is -119. Casey -101 for this fight, and they're looking for a ladies' fight. This one is kind of a decent price if you want to play the over 2.5 at just -140, which is probably going to be the best price of the night for a women's fight that goes the distance. Willie, who do you like here? You like Cast Iron, or do you have your eye more on the Savage?
Just to backtrack right quick before I dive into this fight, I did see here just a second ago that TMZ and Yahoo posted that Matt Bravola was pulled because his cornerman tested positive for COVID.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he is off the card, but I'm on Gillian Robertson in this fight. She's the better grappler here. She's got the better ground game, and I don't know that Courtney Casey can avoid the submission for an entire fight. Nothing really excites me about either one of these fighters if we're just getting right down to it. But I think that Gillian Robertson's going to be the best way to play this fight.
Okay, all right, and definitely getting a short price on her, as you just have to lay the wood a little -119 to take the favorite. Scott, I got to be honest with you. Anytime I see a women's fight with a over 2.5 at under -150, I'm going to take a long look at that, and I think I'm going to play the over in this fight. And you're right, Willie was right that Robertson does have to. She doesn't want to take it to the ground. Casey's going to have to keep off the ground as much as possible, keep from getting submitted, because that is what Robertson does want to do, is make her tap out. But You know what? I'm going to go for a long ladies fight here. I'm going to take the over 2.5 at -140. Scott, your thoughts?
If I had to lean anywhere, I'd probably also lean to the over. But at the end of the day, I am simply passing on this. I mentioned last week that I'm going to be a little bit more passive when it comes to just not giving plays out on every single fight if I don't see an edge. And simply put, I just don't see an edge. I feel like this fight is pretty even, as the odds makers suggest. And, I definitely think that Casey has the ability to win this fight if she is able to avoid the savage takedown or the savage submission, whatever you want to call it. I made that up. A savage submission actually has a nice ring to it.
Nice.
But, for that reason, I'm simply going to pass. I feel like there's probably better options later on in the card to potentially put your money on. So for me, I think this fight should be entertaining. This fight on paper looks very even. I do think that it should be a very entertaining fight. But at the end of the day, I just don't see much value from a betting perspective. So for that reason, I'm going to pass.
Okay. Very good. And Courtney Casey is a fighter that wants to trade blows with you. She wants to stand up. She shows a lot of punches, and she takes a lot of punches. She's got a pretty good chin, and that is not Robertson's game. She wants to get you to the ground. So it will be the clash of styles in this one. And, I'm going to lean to the over, probably put, a little pizza money on this. Nothing too significant, but I like to have a little action, and I will take the ladies fight to go over 2.5 rounds in this one. So now moving on to the next fight, we have Oscar Amaldo. Amadlo. Sorry, terrible. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it means something in Polish, but I don't know what it is. It's Oscar Amadlo Peixoto against Marc-Andre Powerbar. Really? Powerbar. Barrault. What is it, guys?
I can't say that I've seen a power bar in a long time in any of the vending machines, so I'm not even sure if power bars that are actually a thing anymore. But I believe it's Barrault, I believe.
Okay. Well, he's from Canada there, eh? So maybe in Canada, power bar is a thing.
Could be. I remember I used to see the yellow and red wrapper all the time in like vending machines, and I don't believe I've seen one of those in probably about 6 years, give or take. So, just my thoughts.
It could be Mark Cliff Bar Burrow.
Yes, I've definitely seen Cliff Bars a lot more than I've seen Power Bars lately.
All right, so let's take a look at the odds here. This is again another evenly matched fight as Peixoto is a small favorite, -150. You pick up Burrow at -105. Scott, you like anything here?
Once again, I'm going to have to pass. It's pretty difficult to bet on a fight where both fighters have lost each of their last 3 fights. So they're not necessarily in solid form. They're basically just fighting to stay in the UFC roster before getting released. That seems like that's what this fight is going to be about. For the sake of this fight, I just think it's very even. If I had to lean anywhere, I'd probably lean to Oscar, just because I think he has a little bit more talent in terms of just the wrestling aspect of it, because he does have 5 submission wins and Barrault has 0. So I just simply think that Oscar is a little bit more comfortable in these scramble situations with regard to takedowns, etc. So I would lean to Oscar, but at the end of the day, both fighters just simply aren't that good, and I'm not going to put money on a fighter that I can't trust. So for that reason, I'm going to have to pass.
Well, and Burrow seems like one of these wrecker or checker kind of guys where he's either gonna knock you out or he's probably gonna lose by decision. So
So from that perspective, I'll probably lean to the wrestler there, but both fighters, just simply put, are not that good, and for that reason, I'm going to pass.
All right, Willie, are you going to pass on this one as well, or are you going to make a little play there?
I'm actually going to pass when it comes to betting this, but if I was to bet it, I would play over 2.5, or maybe even fight goes the distance at +125. I think this is going to be like a cat and mouse kind of a fight, because each fighter is going to be looking to do different things here. One of them's going to be looking to go to the ground, while the other one's looking to stand up. I just think it's going to be one of those. It's one of those really weird fights to even try and handicap, because, as Scott mentioned, they both lost 3 straight, and both of them are basically fighting for their lives at this point.
Yeah, very good. And that's and we do talk about it on occasion. Sometimes the best bets are the ones you keep in your pocket. You know, that's you've also made money there. If you don't have a feel for it, then by all means pass, especially on cards like this where you've got a lot of good fights, a lot of good money-making opportunities. And you know what, if you don't like this fight, wait it out, because there's going to be another one 5 minutes later, and good chance that you'll be able to get a good price on somebody that you like there. So let's move on then to the another fight between the ladies, as the number 11 contender Tisha, the Tiny Tornado Torres, goes up against Brianna the Bull Van Buren. You know, this is going to be it should be an interesting fight. Van Buren is a prohibitive favorite at -205, while the Tiny Tornado, you can catch plus 175 on that one. And this one is going to is really being handicapped as a fight that will go the distance, as over 2.5 rounds is -450 at this point. So Scott, the Tiny Tornado, not going to knock anybody out, and she's known for going the distance. Brianna Van Buren a little more evenly distributed as far as her outcomes go. What's your favorite play on this one?
I told you I put this in a parlay with the Mota Faria to go the distance. So this is the second leg of my female decision cards parlay. Simply put, Torres has been in 15 career fights. She's gone to decision 14 times, which is kind of ridiculous if you really think about it. But I also think it's pretty funny as a footnote that the Tiny Tornado actually has about a 1-inch height advantage in this fight. So good for the Tiny Tornado in this one. I don't know if her nickname fully applies when her opponent's 4'11", but either or, I just simply think that this fight is going to go to a decision. Oddsmakers feel the same way. Torres goes to decision basically every time she's in the card, and it's over 90%. So for that reason, I'm going to put this in the parlay for going distance, and I'm going to cut into that juice a little bit. So Motafari and Torres distance in both of their respective fights. Parlayed is -113 on Fox, but I'm sticking to it.
All right. Very good. Willie, you got a couple of Munchkin-sized ladies here going at it. The UFC has her listed at 5 foot. Scott's got her at 4'11" against Tisha Torres, 5'1", the Tiny Tornado. What do you like here, buddy?
I'm keeping this one in my back pocket, actually. I really don't want anything to do with it. I feel like there's only real two feasible outcomes for this fight, and that's either a Van Buren knockout or submission within the second round or so, or it's going to go the distance. And if it goes the distance, Torres will probably win. I really don't want anything to do with this fight. If I was forced to play it, I'm probably playing the over as well.
The truth is that from a fan perspective, this is probably the least exciting fight that I found on the entire card. I have no interest in watching this fight.
God, what can I get for Van Buren going the distance?
Well, when you say going the distance, you mean winning by decision?
Yes.
Let me see what I can find. Sorry, I'm sure it'll be somewhere lower than plus 150. It'll probably be somewhere around the plus 130 range, but let me just check that for a second. Truth is, I was trying to look for lines and stuff yesterday, and I realized about 1 minute into the analysis, I really have no interest in this fight at all. And, of course, I'm not going to change the channel, but if there's any fight I'd be tempted to change the channel, it probably would be this one. I don't know if you agree with that, Scott. I'm assuming you expect this. Of course, with you taking the favorite by decision, I'm guessing you think this will be a relatively boring fight.
Yes, I do. I think it's going to be probably, you know, and it's so hard to predict how these fights are going to go, but on paper it certainly looks like one of the less exciting fights of the evening, no question about it. So
FoxBet has Van Buren to win by decision at -120. I'm checking FanDuel to see if there's any other lines out there, but I see -120 right now, which is not attractive, but you're saving roughly $1 in comparison to the money line. So I guess that's an option there. It's -130 on FanDuel. So your best option is decision at -120 if you want to take that.
And I think the decision I make on this one is going to be pass. So I'm not even catching plus money there. I'm out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have no interest in this fight besides the distance, because I feel like that is, I don't want to say a lock because the smaller octagon plays a factor, if you have one fighter who's gone to a decision 14 to 15 times, I'm probably going to assume you're going to a decision again.
Right, and I think the odds makers have assumed that as well. All right, so let's take a look at the last matchup in our preliminary card as Bobby King Green goes up against apparently Jason Momoa there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It is Clay the Carpenter Guida. And
UFC legend, Clay Guida.
And why is he a legend?
Because he's been around for a long, long time. He's been in a lot of UFC fights. If you want to fully break it down, he's been in the UFC. He was with Strike Force back in the day, back in like 2006, before it ended up merging with the UFC. But he's been in the UFC since 2007, so he's been around the block a few times.
All right. Willie, break this one down for us. The Carpenter against the King, the young versus the old. Although Bobby Green is no spring chicken himself, as he has 35 fights under his belt as well. And this one, it looks like a situation where Green has a 3-inch height advantage, but it really doesn't translate into reach, as he only has a 1-inch reach advantage in this one. Willie, the odds makers have made Bobby Green a big-time favorite here at -245. The grizzled veteran Clay Guida at +210. Willie, find us some value in this fight.
Well, I'll tell you beforehand that I am biased on this fight because I am a huge Clay Guida fan. I've been a big fan of his for a while. He's an exciting fighter. I like his slug-it-out style. And I do believe that this match here will be a slugfest, but I can't pass up an opportunity to take Clay Guida at 2-1, especially with the knockout power that he has and the ability, even when he can't get the knockout, to control a fight and control the ring.
Okay. All right. And it looks like Bobby Green is no slouch either, as he lands over 5 significant strikes per minute, and he'll take some punches too, as he takes about 4.5 a minute. So I think Willie, your call as a slugfest is going to be probably a pretty good one on this. So you like Clay Guida there at +210. Scott, do you share Willie's feelings on this one?
I do not. I understand the value on it. I can understand that, considering the fact that Green is a very impressive 1-1-5 in his last 7 fights. So, yeah, he hasn't been great at all lately, which is why I think this line completely stinks. And the reason why I say that is the fact that the guy who's 1-1-5 in his last 7 fights is roughly a -230 favorite. It seems like Green's just about to run through him, just based on what the line is indicating to me. I like Guida as a fighter, as an entertainer. In terms of recent results, he's been okay. I mean, he's 1-2 in his last 3, but he's lost to Olivier and Jim Miller, who are known for being extremely solid submission guys. I think the main issue that I have with Guida is the fact that his submission defense is absolutely abysmal, and he's lost 10 times by submission, which I think is a serious problem in this fight. Green hasn't won by submission in a while, but he does have 9 submission wins. And I think that there is a shot that he can get the back potentially and get a submission. I think for this type of fight, value play is the only way that I can look at it. And Green by submission is +600 on Fox Bet. And for that reason, I'm going to have to take it. This is my huge long shot flyer of the evening, simply just because of the fact that Guida, from a submission defense perspective, leaves a lot to be desired. And for that reason, I simply just think that Guida, despite being entertaining, has definitely lost a step or two, as his last 2 submission losses have come in less than 2.5 minutes into the first round. I think Green will end up trading in the stand-up, but I think he does have the ability to change levels, and I think he has a shot at least to get a submission attempt in 1 out of every 6 fights between these two guys. If, in that situation. So for me, +600 seems like a very good deal, and I'm going to go for value there, so I'm going to be taking that at +600.
All right. Not a bad way to finish up the undercard there with a plus.
I mean, you're getting a -230 at a +600. I'm going to take a shot there.
Yep. I think the math checks out on that one as well. So let's move on to the main card here as Jim A10 Miller goes against Roosevelt the Predator Roberts. Feels like we've already had a Predator
Because that's the same guy. He fought a couple weeks ago.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, he destroyed Brock Weaver a couple of weeks ago, where he just beat him up for about 2 rounds.
And now he is back. So it's and good to have him back once again. He is the a big time favorite here at minus 235, while Miller checks in at plus 200. Over under is about even at minus 115 each side of the 2.5 on this one. Scott, you playing any chalk here? What do you like?
For me, I'm passing. Just simply put, I think Roberts is the better fighter, but I believe that at this current price, there isn't enough value to warrant me actually taking him. Plus, Jim Miller, he's a tough dude. That's all I'm going to say. He's been around the UFC a long time, and he enters this in decent form. I know he lost to Scott Holtzman in his last fight, but he is 2-1 in his last 3 fights. He's pretty good. If I had to lean anywhere for this fight, I would probably lean to the under, because Miller has 17 wins by submission. I know Roberts is pretty good on the ground as well, but Roberts has a lot of power in the stand-up, and he tends to finish fights. So for me, I would lean to the under, but for the sake of this fight, I'm going to have to pass.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah, Roberts, 80% of his fights do not go the distance. So he wants to either knock you out or he will submit you. Pretty evenly matched there.
Very talented fighter, but Miller has that experience where I think he could potentially catch Roberts slipping at some point for a potential submission. But that's why I lean to the under, especially with how Miller loves to constantly force the action. If you've watched him over the course of his UFC career, constantly comes forward, constantly moving, which should lead to usually shorter fights. But in reality, I don't see much value. So I'm going to lean under, but I'm going to pass.
Okay. Willy, is you got enough value on there on Jim Miller plus 200 to entice you?
I don't think so. I'm also passing on this fight. Although if I'm leaning one way, it's probably to the distance, honestly, just because both of these guys, neither one minds to get on the ground and really grapple it out. And I really feel like this is going to be Robertson's toughest task yet. So
Roosevelt's a solid fighter, so yeah, I definitely agree with that, especially with Miller's track record. But I don't know if he's fully a contender. That's a little bit premature, but he's definitely building up quite an impressive resume so far in the UFC, especially if he's able to get through this fight. He could potentially get a fight, I don't want to say against a ranked guy, but he's definitely moving up in the UFC rankings in his weight class, just based on how he's performed lately. I'm assuming you'd agree with that, Willy.
yeah, no doubt. He's definitely an up-and-comer, but learn about him, I think, more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. And moving on, taking a look at the next fight on the card, and that is going to be Belal Muhammad against Lyman Good. Belal, remember the name Muhammad against Lyman Cyborg Good. I feel like Cyborg's definitely been taken.
Well, it's pretty difficult to have a nickname of remember the name when you have the most common name on the planet. So I'm not really sure if that's a great nickname for that one, but, it is what it is, I guess. Is Muhammad still the most common name on the planet? I think it is.
As far as I know. Of course, that's his last name. So
I know, but if you throw that in before you say the last name, I'm assuming you're kind of referring to the last name, I think.
You think so?
I think so. That would be my guess. But either or, you have the most common name on the planet as your last name. Remembering the name's not going to be that hard. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, Muhammad is a minus 123 favorite here. Lyman Good. You can do a little better than even money as you pick up plus 103 on this one. And let's find out. Let's find out what Willy's thinking here. Who do you like? You like Cyborg or you like? Remember the name of old what's his name there? Cyborg does have a couple inch advantage in the reach, and both of these guys have been pretty fair fighters. So Willy, something's got to give. Who is it?
I'm actually on Lyman Good for this fight. I think I was actually a little surprised when I saw the line because Belal Muhammad likes to go the distance, better grappler. I was honestly surprised was the underdog, even though it's a slight underdog. But I will take it with much confidence.
Okay. All right. Very, very good. That's I like that. That is not on the fence. That's not wishy-washy. Says take the value there at Lyman Good plus 103 with much confidence. Love it. Scott, do you have much confidence in Lyman Good?
I'm passing on this fight, but if I had to lean anywhere, I would take Good as well in this fight. Originally, when I first was handicapping this last night, I was looking at Muhammad by decision just based on his results. I didn't find much value on it. And then I kind of looked through Good a little bit more, and I think he's a little bit underrated. I think Good's a very talented fighter, especially in the stand-up, as he has the ability to take people's heads off. So for me, Muhammad's a bit of a one-trick pony. He tends to only win by decisions. That's his only method of victory. And in the smaller octagon, I really think that Good can clip him and potentially win by knockout. So I think that is a decent play for value. Plus, as Scott, as you know, I'm a weakness for the local fighters, and Good is from the Tiger Schulmans in New York. So for that reason, I'm a little bit biased towards Good, especially after seeing Tiger Schulman's commercials my entire life. But, yeah, I think Good will win. But in terms of actual money, I'm going to pass on this fight.
What do we got for Lyman Good to win inside of the distance?
Let me look at that quickly. So inside the distance, you don't want knockout, you just want any method?
Knockout wouldn't suck. That'd probably be the way I'd go.
A knockout wouldn't suck. Well put. Well put right there. Okay.
More than half of his wins have come by way of knockout. So
that's why I assumed that you'd be looking at the knockout.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just pulling it up really quickly. Okay. If you want to, you can move on to the next fight, and I'll let you know when I have it.
Okay. All right, good enough. Let's take a look at the next fight, just like the man said there, as we've got, again, the third fight of the main card, and it's the last ladies' fight of the evening. It is Raquel Pennington against Marion Reneau. Pennington is the number 6 ranked fighter against Reneau is the number 10. As far as the nickname goes, Rocky is Raquel Pennington's nickname, while Marion Reneau goes by the Belizean Bruiser. Outstanding. And the odds makers have made Pennington a favorite here at minus 178. If you wanted to bet the dog in Reneau, you are going to get better than 3-2 on your money, as that currently stands at plus 153. Another fight with the ladies they believe is going to go certainly over 2.5 rounds, if not the distance, as the over is minus 310. Scott, where's the value here?
Well, first of all, just to touch upon the previous fight, Good inside the distance is plus 325.
Okay. And you find a knockout price on him?
It's roughly plus 260. So you're better off just taking the inside the distance if you had the choice between the two.
That's very weird, but okay.
Well, that's the point, is that he's such a one-trick pony when it comes to knockouts that you just assume that there's really no threat of a submission.
Right.
So, however, I would always lean to inside the distance in those situations because you could get a very, very rare disqualification or something. You have seen weirder things in the UFC.
Right.
So that's the reason I probably would lean to the inside the distance instead of the knockout price there. I'm going to pass, but do you have any interest at plus 235 on Good?
Yeah, I'll play that. That's just enough meat on that bone to bring me to the table. Give me Good inside the distance plus 235. I'll take that.
Okay.
All right. And how do you feel about this one?
This is going to be one of my plays. I like Pennington by decision, which is available at plus 110 on Fox Bet. Of course, anytime you're taking an exact result and it's barely above plus money, there must be a reason why that's the case. And both fighters, simply put, not that great. Pennington has lost 3 of her last 4, and Reneau is 0-2 in her last 2 fights, with both losses by unanimous decision. However, I'm going to give Pennington a little bit of a pass because of the level of competition she's gone up against. In 3 of her last 4 fights, she lost to Holly Holm, who was a former champion, lost by decision. She lost to Durandamy, who lost to Nunes for a title shot about a year ago. So Durandamy is a serious contender in that weight class. And she also lost to Amanda Nunes, who is the greatest female MMA fighter of all time. So I'm going to give her a little bit of a pass there. Simply put, I just think Pennington's a better fighter. It is worth mentioning that even though Reneau might have the better overall record, she is 42 and Pennington is 31. So I got to question if Reneau has too much mileage on her, which might have caused her last 2 losses to Kat Zingano alongside with Yana Kunitskaya. So for that reason, I'm going to lean to Pennington here, and I'm going to take her by decision at plus 110.
Okay. All right. And Willie, you feel the same way?
I'm actually passing on this fight too. If I was forced to play it, it would probably be with Reneau. I feel like the better striker here. She's given up just a little bit on the ground, but not much. But yeah, neither one of these fighters are. Nothing here is really exciting me either way from either one of them, and I have trouble putting a lot of confidence behind a fighter that's 42 years old. So we saw what happened to BJ Penn when he started getting up in age, and he was one of the best fighters.
Even Verdum, who came back a couple of weeks ago when he ended up losing to Olynyk, he looked terrible, and he was like 43 at that point. But the main reason with Pennington is I feel like her recent results are based on her strength of schedule. You have to face a Nunes, you have to face Durandamy, and you have to face Holly Holm. That's a pretty difficult schedule there, and I feel like this is definitely a step down in competition for her. So for that reason, I like Pennington at plus 110 by decision.
Okay. All right. Very good. And that's puts a little value on that minus 178, makes that a little more palatable. So I don't hate that play, taking youth over experience in this one. And our second to the last bout of the evening is going to feature Josh Emmet going up against Shane Burgos. Emmet is the number 8 contender, while Burgos is the number 10 contender there in the featherweight division. Shane Hurricane Burgos, by the way. And the odds makers have made a favorite out of Burgos in this one. He is minus 145, as Emmet is plus 145. The odds makers do feel that this one will not go the distance. They've made the under minus 145. So, Willie, we're coming down to it. It's time to make those bets and catch up some of those earlier bouts where we probably haven't been lucky. So who do you like here? You like Burgos with the 5.5-inch reach advantage?
I do, and this is another one of these fights that I really don't just have a huge feel on, because neither one of them have really faced just a ton of tough competition. Of course, Emmet has a win over Michael the Menace Johnson, and also a loss to Jeremy Stevens, and Burgos has a win over Cub Swanson. But I mean, neither one of them's really faced a lot of tough tests, and I think this is really going to be a tale of the tape for both of them. But I think that Burgos will probably get the job done here.
Okay. All right. Very good. And and he is a guy that is going to definitely try to knock you out. He's a striker, throws over 7 significant strikes per minute. And, man, he can take some beating, too, as he takes over 6 hits per minute, 6 significant strikes absorbed every single minute. Scott, do you see this one going the distance, or you see a particular outcome there inside the 3-round time?
So this fight for me was pretty difficult to handicap, just because I'm a fan of both fighters. I think Emmett's a talented fighter, especially for somebody who's 5'6". He can pack a wallop with any of his punches. And Burgos is from New York, and I've watched him fight. He's very good. So for this fight, I'm going to be going for a dual result kind of situation, and I'm going to be looking at Burgos to win by knockout or decision, which is available at plus 110. Submission I don't see as an option, because Emmet has been very good on the ground. He's never lost by submission. And I think Burgos should take advantage of that 5.5-inch reach advantage. So from that perspective, I think Burgos either wins by knockout or by decision, because I think he should control. I think he should be able to control the stand-up. So for that reason, Burgos by knockout or decision at plus 110 on Fox Bet is where I'm going to go. And that's my play.
All right. Very, very good. And that leaves us just one. The main event of the evening, and it is at least on paper, it's the biggest mismatch of the evening. Is a heavyweight bout there with the number 3 contender Curtis Blades, Razor Blades. There you go. There you go. I like Razor Blades. That's outstanding. As he goes up against the number 7 contender in Alexander Drago Volkov. And the odds on this one, it has Blades as a minus 405 favorite, while picking up plus 305 on Drago. Scott, you're going to kick us off on this one. What do we see? I'm assuming you're going to look for Blades at some sort of a particular outcome.
Actually, no. I'm going to surprise you a little bit because I don't think there's really any value on taking Blades by outcome. There is one prop on Fox, but that I do really like a lot, and there's a couple reasons why I like it. And the prop is going to be Volkov Blades under 2.5 takedowns combined, which is available at plus 150 on Fox Bet. Simply put, Blades is the favorite to win this fight, and based on how Blades likes to fight, this fight should end early. Blades is a knockout specialist. He loves to just run in and just immediately knock people unconscious. And I feel like based on the odds alone at 440, you have to assume that Blades should pretty much run through Volkov within the first 2 rounds. So for that reason, you're getting under 2.5 takedowns at plus 150. This fight could actually end in roughly a minute. So you're going to be getting a fight that should end in roughly I'd say the 3rd round max based on where the over-under is. And I can get less than 2.5 takedowns at plus 150. I'm going to take that to the bank. So for value, I'm going to take under 2.5 takedowns at plus 150 on Fox Bet.
I don't hate that, as you've got 2 fighters that definitely want to slug it out here. And like you said, Blades is quite likely to end this one early. Willie, you like Scott's play that he found there?
Yeah, I really do like that. I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. It's probably going to be another slugfest. I really am not sure why Volkov is this big of an underdog because he has the knockout power in his own right. Granted, he's definitely not the best fighter in this fight, but his plus 290 may be worth a look. I really looking into the props, either fight does not complete first 1 full round at plus 195, or even a safer way to play that would be the fight does not complete 2 full rounds at minus 125. That's probably where I'm looking at because I think that maybe these guys can avoid getting knocked out through the first round, but I don't see it making it into the 3rd round at all.
I was actually looking into Blades by 2nd round knockout at around plus 500 on FanDuel. But in reality, since the fight to end within 2 rounds is a minus price, I got to assume that at some point somebody's going to get clipped and hit the ground and the fight's going to be over. So if I can get the under 2.5 takedowns there at plus 150, kind of looks like a gift to me.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to go a little bit of a different direction. I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on the dog here. I'm with Will. I think there's a little bit of value on Volkov. Yes, I think Blades is certainly the better fighter, and I think he's deserves to be the favorite here. But I'm going to take that 3-1. Give me a plus 305 on Volkov to pick up the victory here over Curtis Razor Blades. That's how I'm going to play. That's how I'm going to play that last fight. So
cool.
Suckered me in with the 3-1. That's all I can say. So, all right, boys, very good. This is I know that you guys a little more excited about this card than last week's UFC ESPN 10 card there on Saturday night. So it should be fun as we tune in and watch the money roll in.
I can't really argue with that. I mean, last week's card, even though the names weren't exactly the most well-known, turned out to be a pretty good card because people just kept getting knocked out within the first minute of every fight. So it was very entertaining. And anytime, as we mentioned before, a lot of times just constantly that the octagon is smaller in the Apex Center, which has led to more stoppages, keeps showing up every week. And hopefully there are going to be some fireworks here.
And yeah, we haven't moved this one to Fight Island yet. This one is another one that's coming in it's a small octagon there out in Vegas. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Willie, any final thoughts on the cards here tonight for Saturday night?
Not really. I think it's going to be a good one, though. It should be a good one. And I'm just glad that we're actually getting a lot of good talent on this card.
Okay, and it is a kind of a harbinger of things to come. As there's some good fights coming up, and we'll be looking forward to getting together to cap those. So everybody, I appreciate Willie, as always. Appreciate you stopping by and lending your thoughts to the UFC card. Really appreciate you being here, man.
Oh, it's my pleasure. All the listeners, be sure to check out winnersandwhiners.com, statsalt.com, pickpapa.com. Our esports department is still on fire.
Killing it. And Willie, I know you've got some help over there working on esports, and you got some other good cappers for esports as well, right?
I do. I have Austin, who is a really good writer, young writer, and then The Admiral, Admir, has actually joined us.
And he's a good esports guy.
Oh yeah, he's kind of like me. He's a jack of all trades, if you will.
Yeah, I know he's a good hockey guy. I know he's a very good NBA capper as well, and I did not know he did esports. So that's cool. That's quite a stable of talent that we got there. So again, esports is not necessarily something that everybody understands, everybody's into. But you know what? The one thing you can understand is if you stick with winners and whiners and the cappers that they have over there, you're going to have more money in your pocket when that match is over than you had when it started. And that's what you need to know about betting on esports. So get your butt over there to winners and whiners. Love having Willy on because he does my job. He does all the plugs for me. So, yeah, definitely check out Winners and Whiners and Stat Salt for all of our all the esports and all of the sports over there that are going on each and every day. Scott, any final thoughts?
Not really. Just it was very nice to go over the card. Looking forward to covering some Belmont Steak stuff tomorrow.
Yep.
And yeah, definitely gonna be a fun weekend.
Okay, very good. Yeah, we will be back tomorrow. Scott kind of previewed it for you. We're going to have once again Curtis Callaward from Racing Dudes going to be taking a look at the Belmont Stakes as well as a couple other races I know that he has his eye on for some tremendous value. So I'm looking forward to having Curtis on tomorrow. And then Saturday, hey, you know him, you love him. We're going to have Winning Willy right back on as we do our weekly NASCAR thing. We'll talk a little bit about the results from wherever the hell they were, Miami. We'll talk a little bit about Homestead results and preview the longest track that they run in the circuit, the Talladega, and talk about the potential for the big one and who makes it out clean and who can keep that aero package intact and draft their way to a victory there in Talladega. So we're looking forward to doing that on Saturday. As always, we appreciate all of you stopping by and checking us out. We appreciate all of our guests today, Winning Willy, Buffalo Wingman, of course, my co-hostess with the mostest, co-host, sorry, not co-hostess, Scott Reichel. We appreciate all of you guys and couldn't do it without each and every one of you. So once again, tell your friends, leave us some comments, let us know what you're playing. If you like digging the UFC stuff that we're doing, definitely drop us a note and let us know. And let us know why we're wrong. Let us know what you got playing for Saturday night, because there's a lot of opportunity out there to make a little moolah. So until tomorrow, we wish you guys all the best today. Stay safe, stay healthy, have some fun, maybe make a little money. I know we got some soccer going on today, and of course there's always Korean baseball. So go out there and make those bets, make a little money. Come back and see us tomorrow. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, and until tomorrow, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.